So we'll continue from the Bodhisattvas, the way of life, the text. We're on the chapter 7, the effort. So we'll just continue that one.
That in my second Jonga things are in Gaibe Uni, Taibe, Tamju Gaibe Chobani, Dungi Gui Yambata, Goso like Chishir gas.
Zawa Diramas. This maybe. Can I have in English, the English version? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thanks. I think we're on the verse 15. Having rejected the supreme joy of sacred Dharma, this is boundless source of delight. Why am I distracted by the cause for pain? Why do I enjoy frivolous amusement and the like?
Tadi Gabegu Karesana Sen Dagaranda Sichima Pinje Oda to the Nego Tamjedo Gawata Deva Pago Mayaki Guti Karesana Tambechu Sangeta Matembe Chudi Yamni Chateres. Or di Yamni Chebi Kasandi Lalentani Shebache Lalentarvina Monetane Ranga Deva Monet Dine Deva Gutsuguri di Nangmin Sha or Pang Sudizama Nangmiche Pet Toyara Yushaje Any Dungi Duma de Dungi Gudi Karesana Dungi Gudi and Dunzis Louis Lingbiling Big Sinjan Sabi Gelia Luke Duzi, sing with Duzis and a sim Namdrol, da Manda 10 with Kasore. Sim water Chiyorba, Chardan Chori Yanyan 10 days, Duzi, what did it by Yang Dea, Chiche. Teneco sauce, Zemozea, the Camden Mima will bet Tataras, Tuzu, Begedea, what a Dizu Caresana. Di Katu de la Semi Yang Jechik, Namero Chago, di Teledene to me, Cure, Teledene, and to me, what is? Chetan Thekchen
So that especially the holy Dharma, so which is the main cause for the temporary and ultimate happiness, and also by following this the supreme joy of the Dharma, so that oneself leading oneself to the complete enlightenment, and for also being beneficial to all the beings. But we mostly try to ignore this precious Dharma, and our mind so somehow always delight in the the causes for pain, or always distracted by the mind, especially so many different kind of amusements, or for the time pass and so forth, especially spending our time without any kind of proper meanings, and especially thinking so many things that are not so important ones, especially developing our conceptuality, becoming always in a distracted mind. So the mind being distracted all the time with the mental excitements. So with this mental excitement, we spend most of our time with the useless things, and creating a cause for suffering. So showing here the verse explaining that why we are not so aware on those the actions, and why we always try to reject, or somehow get far from this holy secret Dharma, which is the main cause, gives you the happiness and ultimate enlightenment.
Yeah, what is it? What are that? Similar to me, and big Kashi, that's similar to me, make you younger, and big Tamyanchi Yamana, and big Kasata, Peshamang would then Kanda bet lunga dama da jing doa chi yor ba o di kasa di negab de sem ya ma de chule sana ya ta kana le du ko dung yor ba che zang sem ko dung sa di chilo ne me ba che sem ko dung sem ko pa samlo dang jo ji ki to ne me ba so ko sem da be ma gi bu shi yu ne samlo dang jo ji to be gi bu shi ju ko di kasa di yung ko doa da di yong ya de zo lo zhong 다 로종 비게 이제 랑 과야도 다가나 시 로종 그 중 대비나 고 용구도 와 어디 손자 생게 비게 투 대비도 생부터는 쏘고
So that especially when our mind are agitated, or when our mind is feeling low or depressed or so like not happy, then we try to use so many causes to be happy, and so most of the time, so we try to find happiness, the mental happiness, through the physical, the outside objects. So like somehow, so we try to have a day off or vacation, or like going to different places, beautiful place and so forth. So somehow trying to distract our mind from the pain and suffering. So even though it might temporarily seems some relief, but ultimately the pain is still there. You cannot really fully somehow like overcome them. So because the mental pain or mental suffering or mental problem, or like those the sufferings that we have inside mind cannot be just rid away through physical appearance. So because the conceptuality, the thought, the distraction and so forth, all those are the main creating problem. So in order to solve that, so we need to train, or like it has to be transformed through mentally inside, through contemplation, through reflection, or through meditation. So that way, then one can completely free all the problems. So that's why especially engaging into practice of the thought transformations, or the training one's mind to discipline and so forth. So by using those means and methods, then one can fully overcome those problems. So especially the problems that we have inside mind cannot be solved through the external.
다디와 기루 매당 봉조당 로란 당이 왕차당 다당 현동 냠바당 다당 현도 제벌 기서.
So next verse it says, without indulging in despondency, I should gather the support for enthusiasm and earnestly take control of myself. Then by seeing the equality between self and others, I shall practice exchanging self for other.
뭐야? 다당 뭐디 토마 가레스나 유럽에서나 기루 매봐. 간다 shum버다 텐데 매버지. 기루 매봐. 기루 매베. 오 라스타. 기루 매버지 간다 베기 melubose 가리는 게 전 삼바 디체제 간다 디체나 고제 준도 있어요. 고제 준도 직체. 되니 될래야 뽕도 가려서는 어느 초사봐. 배 손음 초 손음 소리 이시서요 봐. 어디야 사. 디체. 당보 준도 있지. 다되네 가서 초사. 당 무시 될라 가려서는 아니 다 템버티 또 그래서 쌤도 그래 지기도 근데 랑랑 제버체네 랑그 쌤나 딱제 제제 아니 쌤 비게 야도 비게 누구 용도도 이것도 가다 어딘데 제버체네 어딘데 제거서 그게 어다 대체네 쌤 약도 봐 유럽체 어다 딘데 제는 대부 가려 용거서나 아니 리슨 레소로 뭐사티 뭐네 르라 가르체면 강에 매봐 쌤라 가르체비네 와 강에 매봐 루스니까 레소로 뭐스 딱 간다 대부 telle야 가르 비게 랑게 비게 가르 두비네 강에 매와다 되네 대바 비게 두배치 용 그래서
So here showing that so way to develop the inside mind, or like so to be able to analyze things and solve, and also to be able to make one's mind supple, or the somehow free from those sufferings. So like developing the armor like enthusiasm. So that armor like enthusiasm or armor like effort, so that really control oneself. So like somehow overcoming the despondency, or like the mind of dullness, the mind of laziness. So that in order to overcome that, so one need to develop this armor like enthusiasm, so that will help oneself to somehow clear one's mind, and also somehow bring the tranquility within oneself. And especially by this effort, or engaging into the practice, the way to accumulate merit and wisdom and so forth, by applying the remembrance, like mindfulness and awareness. So with those the analysis into the mind, so by the power of the effort, so it as a result, so then one can achieve the mind being supple, or suppleness of the mind, or the tranquility of mind can be achieved.
哎呀，但你往下去，他得送过有啥的，我的往下是的，我的定的是的钱呢，女生랑 그 라마도 좀 랑 가리 제제 좀 그랬어. 단다 가려서는 아니 랑 생부츠 가르쳤어. 생배충네. 생 그랑스 가르쳤어. 아니디 류디 때가 다이고 다 간다. 욕불소지 러시아마도 간다 라마요 말봐. 오, 생묘모 왕도네. 제가 다 단다 딘드스 종이나 냠네 제비나 아니 생 랑고 왕도 가르쳐제. 대시도 류비 가르쳐제지. 60年个人往这用过的送，往用是，那对我的的是，大大心都结巴下，大心伢们就送过有的，大大心都结巴下，他的天数上去，天数当然就嘛都大心伢们就得送过嘛我了，嘛给送过有吧，但天数当然行是的，天数上去。
So with practice through analysis, by developing the way to control one's mind. So when one is able to control mind, meaning that until now, so the we cannot control the mind, so it control us. So the meaning, the delusion, the mistaken perception, and the delusion and the laziness, so they all they somehow control us and control the mind, and that the body and mind becoming the out of reach, so that all the problems develop. So to control means with the armor like effort, so the somehow being able to inspect, somehow being able to keep one's mind in tranquility, so by analyzing into the mind, so that our body and mind becomes very stable. So that is due to overcoming the delusion. So somehow by understanding the mind, so how we think, and whenever the mistaken conceptions arise, so like applying the antidote to overcome them. And so similarly, and this with this kind of mind, so then also the stable mind. So what one need to do is engage into the practice of exchanging self with other. So this the practice, even though this the practice is explained in the coming the chapters, but here just trying to explain when one is able to control one's mind, so how one can really put one's mind into the practice.
呀，那就我的了。大概讲究看了是记录把你没下的，贴他的底薪习惯呢，电报顺位电的送上。政府下长婆妈的提醒生不康久吧，这样准备多见呢，
So next two verse, like verse number 17 and 18. So I should never indulge in the despondency by entertaining such thought as, how shall I ever awaken? How the Tadagas who speak what is true have uttered this truth. If they develop the strength of their exertion, even those who are flies, mosquito, bees, and insects will win the unsurpassable awakening which is so hard to find.
상계 고방서 가와토고를 상계사디 연대 탐제의 경 잡아내 맹게를 만는데 윤네 가까이 미신게 지레스제 딘데마 그랑랑 길로 지규야 말레스 아 그래서는 상계 좀 된대게 딘데 송어레스 그래서는 정부 샤장 단다 정부다 샤장 미게 무슨 뜻으로라 아니 준도 dob게 윈드도 상계 두토거다 그래서는 상계 그 르기 요레스 감 대신인 거 요레 송어레스 제가 랑랑마 길루 제제 지식이 요 마소.
So in this verse explaining that once we have this despondency or like such as thought of discouragement, feeling of low, and so that thinking that one cannot do that and this, or especially achieving the Buddha or becoming fully enlightened or awakening is very far away. So somehow feeling kind of those thought should be avoided, because this thought comes from delusive mind, the mind of the dullness, or the mind of despondency. So therefore by applying, if we are able to apply the effort or the enthusiasm, then definitely one can achieve complete enlightenment or Buddhahood. So it says even the animals like flies or mosquitoes or bee insects and so forth. So even if they are able to use the right enthusiasm, also they can find the way to enlightenment. So therefore for us definitely we can find this the awakening mind if we overcome this the despondency or the delusion of laziness.
다다 리기 메게 라 펜다 너바 모심베 전주 저바 만나나 다게 전주 지메토.
And next verse it says, so if I do not forsake the Bodhisattva's way of life, why should someone like myself, who has been born in a human race, not attain awakening, since I am able to recognize what is beneficial and what is of harm? Sorry.
아니 다 리기 미사데 게디요스 그래서는 밀미 엔비게 그래서는 남주 소모다야 여봐 펜바다 너바사도 모신야지요레스 자자 랑게 아니 비게 섬 교바다 르기 비게 오다 쥐어바상 볼 고주고 있나 상계도 터도 터스 오다 내 상계 터그래 삼베들이 뽑아고 그러서 뽑아.
So that this verse surely explains that how one should really see oneself and to recognize one's ability, so that kind of somehow being that having intelligence and also ability and potential, so having strong kind of will, so that one can achieve full enlightenment.
제가 뽑았는데 비게 톱저터도 상계 고반도 다 있고도 그 믹스게 다른 걸 내가 지야지네. 어떻게 톱도 맨 중그레 삼배 어디 좀전 상로 따네. 내 투그리 삼배 던데스 비게 거다 될이야. 내 치투그리 삼랑 뒤에다 뽑았어. 뽑아. 네 고그래. 가봐 있네. 셜로 고도 고 직된레이 뒤 고고 여봐. 뽑아. 뽑았다. 나게 놓겨 나게. 나게 써야지. 신의 초등집에 심긴스 어떻게 말겠어야지 겨요래 랑 가게 매지라 콜레다 나타가 있어 랑 겨요 지금 나야 근데 레로체 대대야 어떻게 말겠어라 말겠다 뽑아 놓기만 말게요는 경험하고 뽑아요는 아니 가리네 지토그래 뭐 도저.
So here, so one need to develop such a thought somehow, which bringing oneself to be able to attain such enlightenment. So like kind of pride, come positive way. So thinking that to be able to attain by reasoning and by analyzing, so that by seeing the achieving that state of Buddhahood or awakening mind is very possible. So that because that having all the qualities that one have, so that not the pride that coming out of delusion, so seeing that oneself greater than other, but rather seeing the good reasonings and good the causes that leading oneself to the enlightenment. So that kind of a thought, that kind of the mind should be developed.
왜 내가 알아서 뭐 땅에 다는 직시나 지단야와 마제버 몽베 다는 지버세.
So next verse it says, but nevertheless it frightens me to think that I may have to give away my arms and legs without discriminating between what is heavy and what is light. I am reduced to fear through confusion.
다 완데 계시. 다 계시 비춰봐 사무사도 문에 타내기 내 전사 말에 그래서는 진보체비는 깡보다 라고다 뭐 딘데 당과에 든 나대 시기도스 되게 되게 전사 말서는 딘데 시기요 말에스 디 지양 개와 다 간다 지양 개와서는 그래서는 레 당보바다 이게 그래서는 배 간사도 또부터 해봐 대수 카가지 대수 찍고 속이요 말스 레 당보가 딘데 당과 시기요 말에서 그래서는 코라 레 당보발 전적 비게 따다 비냠네 지하체 다 간다 진버대서 당이도 그랬으나 배대 탑시 또버터벌래네 담배 뒤주디 실로 도와지니까 이제 직대로 시사시 암조 과바짱게 다좀바 시들라 총도라고 간다 다좀 시들 배 시베 대발라 슈거와 딜을 하게 대봐 직대로 시서 암조 과바서 딘데게 대바 깽이 됐어 어찌도 그랬어 어디 딘데 이게 가르스는 이해와 차고를마도 당분이는 전사 말을 쓰기요 말소.
So and not only that, so like one shouldn't be mistakenly think that one cannot follow the path, so as I may have to give away my arms and legs and so forth. So that giving one's body the practice of generosity on that sense, and that is according to the practices of the bodhisattvas and arhats and so forth. So there are the practices that we can and that are we cannot. So like according to the level of the thoughts and the state. So therefore so now what it explains is like giving one's own body or arms, legs and so forth. So that meant especially for the bodhisattvas, those who have achieved certain path or ground, arhats. So those the arhat remain in the peace. So those beings, when they are in meditation, when they hear somebody asking something, so then they are always aware. So there's always very sharp, so much ready to give away anything they are asked. So because they are able to, even they can give their own body or any parts of one's body to other person. So that is a different case, but that may apply to according to the state of realizations.
개와 제바 당면도 랜랑 도마를 제바다 목당 색당 샹규기 장주 토바 민주로.
So for over countless myriads of eons, I have been cut, stabbed, and burnt, and I flayed alive in number of times, but I have not awakened.
오야 다랑게 로칭이 말에 로 집은 뭔가 딱 깨반 집안에 저 망고치 녜마 아니 류랑 말에 류랑이 어디 디즈코돌이야 뭐네 류제야 먹고 이구비야 류랑 이구비야다 메사다야 소용기 샤 어디 딘데기 딘데 중얼에 간다 어디 류 토라 망고 딘데 더블 녜마 간도 류 딘데 스탈라네 딘데 중얼에디 아니 강 동이 중국도 딱 가서 도경체로 마셔. 배 좋아라. 가게 랑거 된다 게 중요한 말. 간다 된다 되그지기. 니마 되그지기 딱 류 되그지기 배 좋아라 따네. 어디 강에 중국 되게 이렇게 원에 자네 그게 샘톤의 그 중요다 다들 상계 고방 원에 대라도 도와 중국 가게 좀 배 좋아라 치면 그래서 니마.
So, showing that one may have taken countless lives in the past, and during that times that we have faced so many uh, sufferings or experiences of being cut or stabbed or burned. So, like for many times, numberless times. So, but that kind of the hardship, that kind of pain, that kind of the in the suffering, that kind of things will never become a cause to achieve awakened or Buddha. So everything that we have experienced in the past, so it's just the fade away, and it never become beneficial to improve our status.
다드네. 다 가지고 줘봐요. 동의되는 처유에 대. 송고 콜라는 설치 려마되게 동의 신사.
So yet the suffering involved in my awakening will have a limit. It is like the suffering of having an incisions made in order to remove and destroy greater pain.
와야 다드네 랑그 톱저도 땡게 대버 두야 체도 아니 비게 서바다 준주체 근데 딱까지 제야 될이야. 가르스는 디 대부 전부 쉬두야. 디 강에 될 쳐야래서 저러야지. 녜마 만족 강에 만고 쉬지 될 쳐야마 대다키는 맞춤으로 다다 될 디네 좋네. 땡게 대바 토비야지 요래서. 베딘데스 동인데 베디 쳐매우 말에 쳐죠. 디네 동인 진주래라 매우 좋아요. 매우 참 노래스. 맨날지나 코베 나라 나서 첨부 지여나 아니 음지 샥주钱 샥주 제도 잠바 샥주 제 마 류를 마 쇠네 디 나자디 쳐여라 고데 다네 류가 나자 고 매워서 디도 지고래스 베로다 배춘주리다 하고
So the suffering involved in awakening, or like oneself becoming enlightened, will have a limit. So the suffering that we might have to face, or the hardships through the enthusiasm, so through any kind of the actions that we may do that are leading one to the enlightenment, that will have a limit, because at the end, so all the suffering will go away, and one will find the ultimate peace. So apart from this, in the suffering that we have experience in the past lives and so forth, during that time, all those the hardships and the suffering that were experienced, they all are in vain, so never being meaningful. But if we make hardship and whatever suffering that may occur on the way for the awakening, so definitely it will limit, and also it will have a great benefit, and so somehow it becomes a great cause. So so that in this kind of suffering is somehow can be meaningful, just like when we are sick, like when doctors operate, like if you have something inside the stomach, if they operate and take out the disease, and then later the suffering will be no more, so the pain will be relieved, the disease will be cured. So similar to that, so our the exertion, our effort to awakening, like any kind of hardship that are done, can be limited, can be like somehow slowly it will disappear.
멤버구야 소재기 미대와이 내면시 대외 동의 망고다 좀지 메디 총수 차스.
So even doctors eliminate illness with unpleasant medical treatments. So in order to overcome manifold sufferings, I should be able to put up with some discomfort.
뭐야? 다 음식 되죠. 음식 탐색이. 또 음식도 군소라 어디게 밀이야 소재가 배 잡아 비게 나절 잡아 체니 아니 비게 네가 되다 때 메대지 요데 텔레데니 그 수근하게 내내봐 수고요 봐스 네 수근하게 내내봐 티능시 아니 아니 단다디 제세가 쪄봤산디 상바 비게 빈고버탄 제세 쪄봤상부디 네가 telea 동이 춘주 때 심보시란 말했어. 어다 동이 춘주지기 배그 동이 자원에 매버서는 비게 그래서나 어다 그래서는 땡게 때봐 동이 자원에 매버서 두고 요래서 대송 인자 어때리 인지 매지 쇠선 제고 그랬어.
So also here showing that so one showing like not only effort but also tolerance, like forbearance. So being able to bear kind of small suffering to able to achieve the great benefit, the greater achievement of enlightenment. So the bodhisattvas who engage into the path, so they somehow happily indulge into all this discomfort and the hardship, so they will take to achieve complete enlightenment. Similarly, so we can follow that the path, same as when a doctor eliminates illness, so same as that, some unpleasant or some pain might occur, but at the end, so it will bring the longer the health and happiness. So with that context, one should try to develop such a thought of the bodhisattva's way of life, so to be able to find the complete happiness by attaining the great enlightenment.
소재 배원 된다와 멤버초데 만제디 저거 신도 정보이 내진 방면 소반데서.
So, but the Supreme Physician does not employ common medical treatments such as this. With an extremely gentle technique, he remedies all the greatest ills.
다 암지 단다 비게 류를 되지한데 소재 해봤어요. 다제체니. 그래서는 네 류를 마 속으로 그래서는 나즈도야 고 뒤치고로 봐. 상계 좀대 되기 맹 초가디 네다 암지 배버 되고 말해 하장 잠보랬어. 류를 많이 쏘고 말해. 그래서는 아니 초가신도 잠보. 그래서는 승기 교배다니 이게 선 대배통에 교배다니 내 치보 배 문에 차네 그다 그래서는 동네 잡아보라. 이게 매웠어야지. 뭐 딘데지 소재 잠보 상계 좀대 되고 초가다 하장 잠보랬어.
So unlike common medical treatments, so which may have some greater pain, but if we follow the supreme position or dharma or Buddha's path, so then we can also have a gentle technique, so that to be able to train, discipline one's mind, to be able to somehow transform one's mind into the gentleness and follow the path to enlightenment. So somehow with the greater gentle techniques, with the mind training, so all the delusion, the the illness like delusions, all the afflictive emotion can be purified and destroyed, and finally bringing oneself to the complete enlightenment.
정말로 진보는 렘베 통마 줘봐지. 텔로콘이 신인이 링기당 샤양동스.
So at the beginning, the guide of the world encourages the giving of such thing as food. Later, when accustomed to this, one may progressively start to give away even one's flesh.
답변은 진배 냠내를 채나. 진배 냠내이나. 냠내 통마 당무시되네. 휴지가 참보여 마스. 춘주 처음에서는 알아서 클라사 딘데 봐지 디체. 산나 첨부 용어도 더 춘주인데 디체는 꼭 검줘야. 어 딘데 치제. 데레스 상계 좀 되고 토마. 어 데레스 간서 검네. 야 탑시 또버터보. 간다. 똥바 용무송 또베이나. 아니 류진바 사지도 다 강에 매어 봐. 대광래야 류송고 류진바 진초고야 마. 전주 선바이나. 되게 탑시 또바 똥바 용무송 또 드리면은 똥바 용무송 또베이나. 전주 선바 똥 용무송 또베이나. 아니 뭐네 자네기 류는 나자요 말 스템을 스나요 말이 가르서 그래 뭐 딘데 카도래 아니 이게 류진 바다야 숨고요. 그래서
So in this verse, talking about generosity, the practice of bodhisattva's way of life. So so all the training, the practice should be done. So from the small or from the start. So one cannot just give away everything or perfect the perfection of the giving. So the here, so like we need to practice. So gradually we will be perfect this the practice. So at the end, so even we will be able to give one's own flesh or body or one's own life. So that meaning that at the moment we may not be able to do that. So in order to perfect the giving, so first just training with the like in material things or like just offering food or meal, and so that is the start of perfecting one's generosity. So just like Buddha who achieved complete enlightenment. So like all the practice doesn't come at once. So through the progressive way, through the practice, it progresses, and at the end, so it will complete. So therefore, only the bodhisattvas who have fully understand or fully realize emptiness can give one's body or flesh, because once you realize directly the emptiness, then one will have no pain. One will have no kind of feeling of craving or attachment to the one's body. So this way one can give one's the flesh or body, so without any kind of feeling of pain or like attached to it. So because one has fully attained the master of one's mind. So therefore, so in order to become like this the brave bodhisattvas, we need to train from the start. So from the small amount of practicing generosity.
강서 랑게 르라니 초소도 로기네 대제 샤라 소동와 텔라가와 지시유스.
So next verse 26. At such a time when my mind is developed to the point of regarding my body like food, then what hardship would there be when it came to giving away my flesh?
와야 딱한다 전주선 봐 탑시 떠버터고 야 파괴 강사다 딘디 처음에 그도 르르강에 르지마 당선 강에 잡아내요 말았어. 그래서는 르르 나서 매버 어셀 셈나 선나 매버 르사데 이글스 일루 어딘데 그래 디저갈 깔래요 말았어. 그래서 들레사나.
So in this verse showing that the knowledge or the state of the Arya beings, the great bodhisattvas who are in the level of Arya, who has fully developed the mind. So for them, so there is no kind of the feeling of pain or the feeling of desire or craving to this body. So then easily give away. So that kind of state one will reach.
다 디고반지 동에메 케베체나 미가메 대다 로바토바타 디베sem다 르런네서.
So next verse, having forsaken all evil, there will be no suffering, and due to wisdom, there will be no lack of joy. But now my mind is afflicted by mistaken conceptions, and my mind is caused harm by unwholesome deeds.
뭐야? 어디디 그 전주선 뭐 떠버터고 배트 파괴 강사한테서 류당 말로 그래서나 동의야 말았어. 그래서나 비게 탑식 떠버 땡벌레 차래. 저는 동의야 말았어. 어디 다가래샤. 제가 아니 거버 첨부이나 땅야 그 뒤주대 땅 오다마고 강가 캥게 어딘데레스. 도잖아.
So in the level of Bodhisattva, the Arya Bodhisattva, who becomes superior being, so that time, so there will be no pain and there's no craving for the body and there's no suffering. So and also has a skillful means and knowledge that what will be the right time to give away one's body.
뭐야? 어딘데 소소끼고 태바드즈 중계 말에 대체고 말에 대체비 지금 말해서 지금 말했어. 그래서 디스템 신앙함다게야 르르 나자요야 근데 연구를 봐.
So this kind of practice, giving away flesh or body is not for the common practitioner, not for ordinary people. So because which will bring pain and which will bring kind of somehow the suffering, craving and so forth. So like that this practice is mainly for the superior beings.
Sonam gyuni lüdela keba yin semdena shendön khoba ne jani ningji jenda jidi gyosa.
So next verse, as their bodies are happy due to their merit and their minds are happy due to their wisdom, even if they remained in the cyclic existence for the sake of others, why would the compassionate ones ever be upset?
다 전주 선배야 또 패딩이 되죠. sonam be ta sonam be capden yo sonam be chimbo yun sambe lui dewa chög nelu tende dongbe tonda de musum 켐베 인사 거의 인단데 뭐베 내조 거리 이미 무슨 지만이 켐베 인사 배 캐봐 말아도 된다 델라 캐마게 사디 chög nelu 무슨 켐베 인나 캐봐샤 다 델라 캐봐 켜는 요마 어째서 캐봐 켐보 됐어 캐봐체 어다 딘데 손자 아니 lui 대봐 셈 딱도 대봐 원에 차네 딘자 코발 내비네 비게 그래서는 그도 사마게 코발 내비네 원에 디기 원에 차네 그다 배팅 민지 비 현대 지알베 가신 도신세 어떤 요마서 자만 동의 요마서
So this the great Bodhisattva, the super being, so who has attained the great understanding, who has fully understood how the interdependent works, and also seeing the reality of this existence, suchness, like fully realizing the emptiness and so forth. So once they have this kind of great knowledge, so once they have kind of freedom of all the sufferings. Once they have the great the ability to give away all the things without any kind of pain, so then their body becomes happiness due to their merit, and their mind also becomes happy due to their wisdom. So they, with the merit and wisdom, so who has great understanding of this, the reality of phenomena, the seeing that the things existing, like how existing by through the sense of interdependent origination. So it seems that like for them, even they remain in the cyclic existence. So doesn't make any difference because there will be no pain, and even it will not really meant they will be somehow only benefit other sentient beings. They will not really experience the suffering of this samsara. So the verse 29, due to the strength of his awakening mind, the Bodhisattva consumes his previous evils and harvests ocean of merit. Hence, he is said to excel the Sarvakas.
코로나랑 봐 뒤니 고야 간가 난간냐 봐 총도 누구 요래 뒷번이 몇 요트비게세 고야 소남다 이시소도 배 뒤야 돼 저주 섬지고 지고요래 어디 된다 어디 년도에서听민 강사 어디 코발 직다 쳐네 동일시는 코발 탄다 나배 타고 고만 배 통나마도 배 뭐네 타네다 코바스한테 왜 쉽지 지다 처음 들에서 랑거 된다지 깔래 쉽게 아니 되다 군이 돌서요 마서 그 쉬우 깔래 때문에 랑거 된다 두고 전주 섬경이 깔래 들이켜는 매 봐라 뒷배배 깨지지 고됐어 뭐야 사람들께서 뭐다 그게 상계 법원도 딘디싱 갖고 요 선선사는
So as the great super being, so once one has developed this, the great merit and wisdom, so then, the great being, so has this, awakening mind or the bodhicitta. So the bodhicitta, once you develop this bodhicitta, then it not only accumulate great merit, the ocean of merit, but also it eliminate the entire the set of all this in negativeness, the non-virtue and so forth, all the delusion and so forth. So so this with this in the great quality, the bodhicitta, the mind is such a the great the mind which fully overcomes all this the negativeness and accumulate all this merit and wisdom, and which excels the sarvakas. So meaning that so one cannot compare the awakening mind and the mind of sarvakas. As the sarvakas or the lower vehicle, so the mostly they intend to free from the samsara by seeing the great suffering of this existence, and only they indulge into the way to have freedom from suffering. But as far as the bodhicitta is concerned, then bodhicitta has the greater the ability, the greater potential, and greater attitude, not only free from samsara, but especially concerned with the altruistic mind to to be able to liberate entire sentiment. Therefore, the bodhicitta mind becomes such a great and which excels the mind of the lower vehicles.
대외 경영 그세베 전주 선생님께 따셔네. 되네. 대반도 봐라. 섬시 수시 기루.
So, having mounted the horse of awakening mind that dispels all the discouragement and weariness, who, when they know of this mind that proceeds from joy to joy, would ever lapse into despondency.
다 전주 선생님 안 된 거네. 오. 아니, 랑 비게 류의 셈니가라. 셈교 하나 지하다. 류의 셈은 강에 매봐. 경에 켜네. 자원에 매봐 송게 랑귤. 어다 슈마 매봐 송게 데레스. 디 어다 경에 그에서는 전주성 다시네. 전주스템데 깨내서 전주스템데 랑 깨봐 제네. 삼바 상고 어디 깨봐 제네. 디제나 되네 대봐. 깨봐는 대바 고도 디기 뭐만 것도 그래. 되네 타라 가래서나 오 상계 고마 타바 땡게 대바사들 어딘데 디 용거래 삼바tin 교회시단제 대충나 용거래 제가 딘데지기랑 대베나 그 딘데지기 용야하게 셈데 오다 가래서는 끼고래 대게야라야 기록지기 아마 셈시 수시스 뭐네 랑 된다 상무 당신게 미케바지나 뭐네 다네 기록제 제주 마게브제 샤이요 인심민직게 삼바상
So, so by seeing this, the great benefit of the mindset of the bodhicitta, so it's very important to develop this bodhicitta. By developing this bodhicitta, so one can achieve all the knowledge, gain all the merit, and at the end, one proceed from joy to joy, meaning that not only attain liberation, but one will, through the developing great merit and wisdom, one will lead oneself to the complete enlightenment. So that meaning proceeding to joy. So and also that dispel, bodhicitta also dispel all the delusions, the afflictive emotion, and all the any kind of the discouragements, or any kind of the mistaken perceptions and so forth. So therefore, one should never to develop bodhicitta, one should always make effort or enthusiasm, or like in enthusiastic perseverance. So by developing this enthusiastic perseverance, so one can achieve the great enlightenment by developing bodhicitta. So therefore, this enthusiastic perseverance becomes the way, path, so that leading oneself to the enlightenment. So therefore, one shouldn't develop the discouragement or despondency, the discouragement. So that kind of laziness should be dispelled, shouldn't develop, so that one can fully develop perseverance towards awakening or towards developing the bodhicitta.
어떠잖아. 다 도공 대샤기 대샤제 딱 공사 장고 침배군데 다스디 준중한 사람 많고 쉬베래 쉬디 잠바 그도 있는 쉬디를 전주성을 동바치 인심이지 됐단 그래. 세상 당한 조이 대샤제 도공 대샤 전주성비다 미게 평균 디강 대샤제 아니 이놈아 제단다 준주 류니베 원나마 진짜 흘려져마 손이 송 니버 차차나체 되는 숨바 되는 마 손 숨베 이게 전주성 다는 예주 교회 쇼 사실 어디 샤네 앵아도디 전주성 그게 도발해야 되다 직전이요 봐 온디 디가도 된 전주성 도발 샤체 어디 나샤다.
So up to here, so we will stop, and also so as I receive the transmission from His Holiness Dalai Lama, the Bodhisattva's this practice. So on this, it is a tradition. So it's always best to also grant the Bodhisattva vows. So here, so we'll do this, and we'll recite the chapter 2 and the chapter 3. So on the third, so like when you reach to the 2 verse of taking Bodhisattva vows, then we'll stop there and take the Bodhisattva vow.
아야. 다디 그냥 인지게 숨고 있기로 봐. 그냥 대체 맞아 네 가서 벽에 송이어서 벽에랑 채 그냥 인지 송이는 인지체 마딱 인지 있기로 인지나야 자게 있나. 개발면도 말 흘려져 송으로나.
So 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 you can recite in English. So Rinpoche will recite in Tibetan. So I think you know where to stop. So you can do in English.
어야. 들어봐. 단 예주 교회 쇼 소리 샤나.
This one take the card. 잠시해야 될 거. 잠시해야 돼.
단 예주 교회 쇼.
이제 가서 레오스
지당은 이듯이 사대다 선제 초계량 거.
제가 가서 해서 있나. 어디 가서 So I think until the verse 22, yeah. So it is that. Chapter 3. Yeah. Chapter 2, read. Chapter 3 until chapter 22.
In order to seize that precious mind, I offer now to the Tathagatas, the sacred Dharma, the stainless and the sons of Buddha, the oceans of excellence, whatever flowers and fruits there are, and whatever kinds of medicine, whatever jewels exist in this world, whatever clean, refreshing waters, Likewise, gem encrusted mountains, forest grows quiet in places. Heavenly trees bedecked with flowers, and trees with fruit-laden branches. Fragrances of the celestial realms, incense wish jewel trees, uncultivated harbors, and all ornaments they are worthy to be offered. Lakes and pools adorned with lotuses, and a beautiful cry of wild geese. Everything unknown within the limitless spheres of space. Creating these things in my mind, I offer them to the Supreme Beings, the Buddhas, as well as their sons. Compassionate ones, think kindly on me and accept these offerings of mine. Having no merit, I am destitute. I have no other gifts to offer. Protectors, you who think of helping others by your power, accept these for my sake. Then I shall offer all my bodies to the Congress and their sons. Accept me, you supreme heroes, respectfully as subject. The okay. No conditioned existence. I shall perfectly transcend my previous evils, and in future shall commit no more. Two very sweetly scented bathing chambers with brilliantly sparkling crystal floors, exquisite pillars ablaze with gems, having canopies above aglow with pearls. I beseech the Tathagatas and the saints to come and bathe their bodies. The many jeweled vases filled with water, scented and music and song. Let me dry their holy bodies with incomparable, clean and well anointed with scent. Then may I present the holy different garments of suitable colors, adorned manifold ornaments and various raiments of fine smoke. Nitabhadra Manjagosha, Avalokiteshvara and all the others, just like your refined gold, do I anoint the forms with the blaze with light. The choicest perfumes of fragrance permeates 1,000 million worlds. And to the highest objects of giving I offer well-arranged garlands, as well as enchanting sweet-smelling flowers such as lily, jasmine, and lotus blooms. So I send forth clouds of incense, sweet the mind, as well as celestial delicacies, including a variety of foods and drinks. I offer jeweled lamps arranged on golden lotus buds. A lamp sprinkled with scented water, eyes with delicate flower petals. To those who had the nature of compassion, exquisitely illuminated by hanging pearls and gems that adorn the infinites of space. Eternally shall I offer to all the Buddhas jeweled umbrellas with golden handles. Ornaments embellish the rims, standing erect, the shapes beautiful to behold. In addition, a mass of offerings resounding sweet and pleasing music, like clouds that appease the misery of all, each remain as long as necessary. May flowers and precious gems descend upon the reliquaries and the statues, and upon all the jewels of Dhamma. In the same way as Manjagosha and others have made offerings to the conquerors, similarly do I bestow gifts upon the Tathagatas, the protectors, their sons, and I glorify the oceans of excellence, limitless verses of harmonious praise. And clouds of gentle eulogy constantly ascend to their presence. The bodies as numerous as atoms within the universe, I prostrate to all the Buddhas of the three times, the Supreme Community. Likewise, I prostrate to all the reliquaries and bases of an awakening mind, all learned abbots and masters, and all the noble practitioners. I seek refuge in all the Buddhas until I possess the essence of it. Likewise, I seek refuge in the Dhamma and the assembly of Bodhisattvas. Folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in great compassion and recite in all the directions. In this life and in others, unknowingly I committed evil deeds and ordered them to be done by others. Overwhelmed by deceptions or ignorance, I rejoice in what was. And now seeing these mistakes from my heart, I declare them to the Buddhas. Whatever harmful acts of body, speech, and mind I have done with the disturbed mentals, whose spirituals of refuge, my parents, spiritual masters, know the grave wrongs done by me. So thoroughly evil and polluted, I have abundance of faults. I openly declare to the guides of the world, I may well perish before all my evils have been purified. So please protect me in such a way where all swiftly and surely free me from them. And so worthy Lord of them waits for no things to be done or undone. Whether I am sick or healthy, this fleeting lifespan is unstable. must depart alone, but understood this. I have committed various kinds of evil for the sake of my friends, and my foes will become nothing. My friends will become. I too will become nothing. Likewise, all will become. Like a dream experience, wherever things I enjoy will become a memory. Whatever has passed will not be seen. With this brief life, many friends and foes have passed. Whatever unbearable evil I committed for them remains ahead of. Never realize I shall suddenly vanish. I committed so much evil out of ignorance, lust, and hate. My wife is always slipping by and never getting any longer. One will not come to one like me. While I'm lying in bed, others surrounded by friends and relatives, the feeling of life being severe will not be experienced by me. When seized by the messengers of death, what benefit will friends and relatives afford? A merit alone shall protect me then, upon never rely. O protectors, I so unconcerned, unaware of such terror as this, accumulated a great deal of evil for the sake of this transient. Petrified is this, led to torture chamber, with dry mouth and dreadful sunken eyes, and tired hands is transferred. No need to mention the tremendous despair, when struck the disease of great panic, being clasped by the physical forms of the frightful messengers of who can afford me real protection from this great horror. With terrified bulging eyes again, I search for 4 quarters for refuge. But seeing no refuge there, I shall become enveloped in gloom. No protection there, what shall I be able to do? Therefore, I now seek refuge in the Buddhas who protect the world, shelter all that lives, and eradicate all fear. Likewise, I purely seek refuge in the Dharma that I have realized, clears away the fears of cyclic existence, and also the assembly of Bodhisattvas. By trembling with fear, offer myself to Samantabhadra, to Manjugosha, also I will give of my body. Protector of Avalokiteshvara, who infallibly acts with compassion, I utter a mournful, please protect this evildoer. In my search for refuge, I cry from my heart, for Akshagabha Siddhika, all compassionate protectors. I seek refuge in Vajrapani, on the side for all harmful beings, such as the messengers of the flee in the form of God. Previously, I transgressed your advice, but now, upon seeing this great, go to you for refuge. By doing so, may this fear be swiftly cleansed. Need to comply with the doctor's advice when frightened by a common illness. How much more when perpetually diseased by the manifold evils of desire and so. And all dwelling in this earth can be overcome by just one of these, and no other medicine to cure them is found else in the universe. Intention not to act in accordance with the advice of the all-knowing physicians that can uproot every misery is extremely bewildered and worthy of scorn. One need to be careful near a small ordinary precipice, how much more so near a long duration that draws for 1,000 miles. It's inappropriate to enjoy myself thinking today alone I shall not. When inevitably the time will come where I shall become nothing. Who can grant me fearlessness? How shall freed from this? How shall I enjoy nothing? How can I relax and enjoy myself? What remains with me now is the terminated experience of the past. Through the great attachment to them, I've been going against my spiritual master's advice. For this life and for all my friends and relatives, all alone I must go elsewhere. What's the use of making friends and enemies? Then be surely free for unwelcome source of misery. Continually they answer this. Whatever has been done by me through ignorance and unknown, may be a breaking of vow or deed or my nature wrong. I come out in the presence of protectors with folded hands, prostrating myself again, my mind terrified by the misery to come. Beseech all the guides in the world to accept my evils and wrongs. These are no good, in future I shall do no more. Gladly do I rejoice in the virtues that relieves the misery, all those in unfortunate states, all suffering in heaven. That is the cause of our hearts away. I rejoice in definite freedom of embodied creatures from the miseries of cyclic existence. I rejoice in the awakening of the Buddhas and also the spiritual levels of this. And with gladness I rejoice in the ocean of virtue for awakening mind. wishes all beings to be happy as well as the deeds that bring them benefit. With folded hands I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to land Bodhidharma were all bewildered in misery's gloom. With folded hands I beseech the conquerors who wish to pass away dwell in darkness. Thus by virtue collected for all that I have done, may the pain of every living creature be completely cleared. May I be the doctor and the medicine. May I be the nurse for the sick beings in until everyone is healed. May a rain of food and drink descend with the pain of thirst and hunger. During the eon of famine, may I change food and drink. May I become an inexhaustible treasure for those who are poor and may I turn all things and places close to them. Besides the sense of loss, I shall give up my body and enjoyments as well as all my virtues to the 3 times for the sake of benefiting all. By giving up all sorrow is transcendent, and my mind will realize the sorrowlessness. It is best I now give everything to all beings in the same way I shall at death. Having given this body up for the pleasure of all living beings, by killing, abusing, and beating, may they always do as they please. Although they may play my body and make it a source of jealousy, I've given up to them. What is the use of holding it there? No, so let them do anything to it, and does not cause them any harm. Anyone encounters me, may it never be meaningless for them. Those who encounter me, faithful and angry without crisis, may they eternally become the fulfilling all their wishes. All who say bad things to me or cause me any harm, and those who mock and insult me and will fully awaken. God be a protector for those without one, a guide for all travelers in me. May I bridge the boat and ship, and all those who wish to cross the water. May I be an island for those seeking one, a land for those desiring life, and a bed for those who wish to, and a slave for all who want a slave. May I be a wishing jewel, magic vase, powerful mantras and great medicine. May I become a wish-fulfilling tree, a crown of plenty for the world, just like space and the great elements such as the earth. May I always support a line of boundless creatures until they pass away from pain. May I also become life for all realms of varied beings that reach the end. Let others give birth to them. Okay, we're done here.
Thank you. 뭐야? 다 지단 디 가사 단다 디 말씀 초게 내야서 단디 시간이 여러봐. 솔로간이 디 토네 땡 토네 소소레네 끼기요. 너무 끼기요. 꾸노 남다 토네 레미나. 다 토마 라면전에 랭과야. 라면 총네 레나 랭고요. 어디체 대송자다 드린 아니 캐나다 미국은 디나쇼 안 되려야 아니 비게 상계 세다 제바 더 상계 초주 상계 탐제 다가나 신교육 남았긴데 어디 탐제 되는 여 냠바체 어디 공부나쇼 아 디디스 여번 여 냠바체 이게 강가베랑 투 게네 랑 비게 심기 삼바상고 깨야게 아니 방고스를 디디스 교육인데 쇼여 냠바체나 뭐네 타네 여래 가르사 상계 산디 구두 송조래 만주 셈제기 류다 셈사베트 카가르와 상계 딘데 말에 상계 그 투다 구사디 송조래 투다 구 비게 넘버 타데르마도 단단 뭐마 구역한 것도 어떻게 추구인의 수구 넘버 샤샤가 어디 송주 구서 어디선가 여인이 보거나 또 캠베 킹이요다가 구다가요 어디 나셔 여인이 받체
So the verse, 2 verses, the verse 23 and 24. So especially taking the Bodhisattva vows. So it is said that once you have received the Bodhisattva vows from the master or guru, so then one can take this by reciting this the verse. One can take Bodhisattva vows through the visualizing Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in front of one's altar. So So here, so today, so what we need to visualize is that so to receive this Bodhisattva vow, so visualizing one's guru, and also in front of you is not only guru but all the Buddhas of 10 direction, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas all in front of you, so that you take the directly this word, the Bodhisattva vow, in front of them, so that all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas becomes as the somehow the witness, so that you taking the vow. So like saying that a very strong kind of mind, so that Buddhas being everywhere means wherever we pray strongly, then Buddha is there. So there's no space where there's no Buddha. So meaning that when we talk about Buddha, their achievement, their enlightenment, so because there the the how to say, the enlightenment, the body, the Dharmakaya and Rupakaya, the wisdom body and the form body, so they are like inseparable in one or in unity. So therefore one cannot divide. So as there as where there is space, there is the omniscient mind, or there's the knowing or knowledge. So where there is the great knowing or knowledge or omniscient mind, so there is Buddha. So everywhere, so there is in a space, there is a Buddha. So therefore when we strongly make prayer, so then Buddha is always there. So is because we cannot separate form from their knowledge or their wisdom. So not like our the body and our speech and so forth, not like ordinary, because there every the wisdom, the knowledge, and the emanation body of the emanation body, and also the enjoyment body. So all this in unity, in inseparable form. So therefore in one nature. So in that sense, that means we can find Buddha anywhere. So therefore strongly one need to make prayer, so that all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in front of you.
All the tool shene, that the should be carried did not sing it to some whichever nashing a jiggy. I cannot be guess a job of some book Kanamanashi. Deputy, you might remember should be the same Kubatan, some which in such
so one should develop thought. So like to develop the bodhicitta, or the altruistic mind or good heart, so that as the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the past has done. So this word meaning just follow this the advice, and oneself engage into the practice to develop good heart, good the altruism, and so forth. So that with the altruistic mind. So in brief, so that the taking a Bodhisattva vow, or this precept is just by saying that following the footstep of the Buddha. So just by meaning that whatever Buddha has practiced in the past, also follow the same way.
Oh yeah, that is too shiny. Ya zozo che pemo zone, kushep che that is gender nasho.
So to take this the precept, so now you make a repetition. So like we need to sit like a kneeling posture, like one knee on the up and the right knee on the low, so that one can sit and also repeat after the Bhajan master.
Oh yeah, that gender nasho.
Yeah, please repeat after Bhajan master.
Chetarangwengi,
Jitarangwengi,
Deshiki,
Deshiki,
Chanju Tugni,
Chanju Tuni,
Geba Tang,
Kebada,
Chanju Sembe,
Chanju Sembe,
Lava La,
Labala,
Teta Rimshin,
Tetarin Simji,
Neba Tar,
Neba Tar,
Tishin Rola,
Tishin Lola,
Pendant Do,
Redendo,
Chanju Semni,
Chanju Semni,
Gegi Shin,
Kegi Shin,
Tishin Doni,
Tishin Duni,
Lava Lang,
Labala,
Rinpoche Shindo,
Rinpoche Shindo,
Labaraki,
Labaraki. This is the first repetition, so also please repeat the second.
Chitara Nguyengi,
Chitra Ngoyingi,
Deshiki,
Teshiki,
Chanju Tone,
Chanchu Tone,
Keba Tang,
Keba Tang,
Chanju Sembe,
Chanchu Sembe,
Lava La,
Labala,
Tedara Rimshin,
Teda Rimshin,
Neba Tar,
Nebatar,
Tishin Rola,
Teshin Lola,
Pendun To,
Pendendo,
Chanju Sene,
Chanchu Semne,
Gegi Shin,
Huishin,
Tishin Tone,
Teshin Dune,
Lava Lang,
Labala,
Rinpoche Shindo,
Rinpoche Shindo,
Labaraki,
Labara.
다 렌스베 커도려야 아니 르르슈베 상게 다디게 개위티게 진랍다 랑게 매바체 아니 초게 뇌바텔 때네 아니 비게 삼바상보 오늘 다네 그 비게 계속냐 봐 전주선 전주선 계속냐 매바체 아니 제대로 나셔 아
So on the third repeat at the end, so what one should think is that one has developed this awakening mind, this percept. So with a strong mind of prayer, and also through the blessing of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and also the power of prayer. So that all these three enables oneself to receive this, the Bodhisattva, the awakening mind, the precept. So like with this strong mind. So please after this repeat.
뭐야 제도랑은기 대세기
대세기
장주 통내
장주도네
깨바 당
깨바
장주 선배
장주 선배
라바라
라바라
대다 림신
대다리신
네바 따르
네바따르
대신 로라
대신 로라
펜든도
펜든도
장주 선내
장주 셈네
깨기신
깨기신
대신 돈이
대신 드네
라바랑
라바라
렘바신도
렘바신도
라바라기
라바르기
뭐야 어떻게 딱 뭐네 타네게 엔베게 삼바삼바 계속냠바체 엔데 양내 양도 소소에 딱 거기 뒤수 정도 레난 거래
So-
삼바삼고서
So this completes the taking of the Bodhisattva precept and to develop the awakening mind. So that from now on, so like one can take by oneself, in front of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So any time that one wishes to take this, the Bodhisattva vows, and also it will, whatever one has, the broken the precepts that will, recover, and also that it will increase the ones bodhicitta, and so that will be always positive to develop a good heart and good mind, so that will help oneself to completely develop the bodhicitta.
뭐야 다랑게 교를 되게 되기 그 싸와 한 되게 삼바삼고 된데 다 계속냠바체 가바체 되나고 엔 마쇼나네 다디 주들마 그슴 가신도 어때 송나쇼
So with the thought, so one can sit comfortably, and so now repeat this, with rejoicing on this, by taking this, the bodhicitta precept, bodhisattva precept.
어떠시 뭐야 딱 대보체 마송샤로나 캐나조 된데 인지게 인지봐 생각도 그러겠다
So Rinpoche will recite this prayer in Tibetan, so you can follow in English.
So verse 23. Just as the previous Buddhas gave birth to an awakening mind, and just as they successively dwelt in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise, for the sake of all that lives, do I give birth to an awakening mind, and likewise shall I too successively follow the practices. In order to further increase it from now, those with discernment who have lucidly seized an awakening mind in this way should highly praise it in the following manner. Today, my life has borne fruit. Having well obtained this human existence, I have been born in the family of Buddhas, and I am now one of the Buddha's sons. Whatever actions I do from now must be in accord with the Never shall I disgrace or pollute this noble or unsullied race. Like a blind man discovering a jewel in a heap of rubbish, likewise by some coincidence an awakening mind has been born within. The sovereign ambrosia that overcomes the sovereignty of death, an inexhaustible treasure that eliminates all the poverty in the world. It is the supreme medicine that quells the world's disease. It is the tree that shelters all beings, wandering in conditioned existence. It is the universal bridge that leads to freedom from unhappy states of birth. It is the dawning morn of the mind that dispels the torment of disturbing conceptions. It is the great sun that finally removes the misty ignorance of the world. It is the quintessential butter from the churning of the milk of Dharma. For all those guests traveling on the path of conditioned existence who wish to experience the bounties of happiness, this will satisfy them with joy and actually place them in supreme bliss. Today, in the presence of all the protectors, I invite in the world to be guests. As a festival of temporary and ultimate delight, may gods and demigods and all be joyful.
Oh yeah. 도지체 다 다래 다 준주 단다디 냐만에 마치 다 간다들이 다 준주 들어가 왔지. 마 쉬어체 자자 시라 가보숑 지나서 개시슈도 지나서 근데 딱 뭐네 등이 첨부체 근데 간다 간가다 찰레 난고리 되베 랑글 내가 샤는 꿀리 견 디스펜 뭐네 토나 첨부 나바시라 가보숑 닝타번에 도지체 쉬어니
So I like to say, thank you very much to all of you, and especially like coming to this Dharma teaching. So for a few days. So even though very busy in work, and even you have tired, still coming to this listen Dharma. So and that which makes very much difference in one's life. So for that I feel very much happy, and so thank you to all.
되네 다지다 아니 기부 담바 당아 매 가라라에 다 디주주 사람하고 쇼녀서 제가 기부 담바도 마 손나데 랑기 통냠신 나네 비기 용도 토안에 봐 딱한다 비기 용도 토안에 봐 비기 냠시 가나 베티스마다 송샤기 거래 딱 아니 딘데 요 말에 가서 그래 다지 렌드 체를 소치 가나 바 렌드 왜 진도 소치 봐 어딘데 제마 शुगर ये नहीं यहाँ शुसत चाहे वो शुभ सोचा टेंडे क्या ना तो चिलम ने शुगर है वो देश सोचा वो तिंडे चिले दिया तो चला
So that the teachings that we explained this time, so I may not be fully qualified or fully experienced, but however so the teachings that we discuss now, that coming received by the great holy master and so forth, because of their blessings, so which may be some beneficial to you, and also it will be beneficial to engage into one's practice.
뭐 대송자 다키난조 배 로종 여바 뭐네다 캐바 장냐를 캐바 뭐네 대송자 강가 턴다 고동이 대송자다 턴다 고버 찍고 마샤비체 이 턴다디 성제제 다 냠네스가 봐 성다 어디 냠시 애네 간다 디나네 주주나네 왜 카도 간도 제 냠시 나나 성땡데 여버도 그래 디기사도 뭐네 단 나네 샤요 어떠셔
So as all of you, so who have a very great understanding and also knowledge, so that makes very much easier to understand those teachings and the verse that were explained. So the main thing is that just by knowing, just by seeing that is not insufficient. So one need to put them into the practice, and if we are able to put them into practice, definitely then it will ripen as a result, and so effortlessly the happiness and joy, the effortlessly all the experience of peace will just arise from those practices.
어떡한다 랑문에 칸에게 배 대변 고주에서 되네 연구래 아니 신파 디기 신을 봐 대변 고주야 어디서나도 되네 연구요래 딱 간다 체도 대반에 체 디기네 푸그 디기 포도 뭐네 타네게 왔다 디기 나로네 샤야사데 땡 담벌 해줘요. 어디체?
So, through training this mind and to bring a happiness, the temporal happiness and ultimate mind, ultimate happiness will bring through this the practices. So, therefore, like the not only one happiness one will have, but also one will be able to share the happiness to other at the same time. So, this kind of practice will enable oneself to bring happiness and also lead oneself life meaningful and long term, so like bringing the achieving the ultimate goal or ultimate happiness as well.
어떠잖아. 안 다리 대다 뒤주도 튼들이 튼들 대회 바로 롱원에 타네. 아니 대사 아니 셔라 다들면 즉 강게 통하네 원에 타네 배 전화도 쉬우지고데 아니 배에 가서 오래 딱 한다 디나요래 편도 전부 셔라 나는 원에 타네게 아니 기부 셔라 좀 제가
Yeah, so during my short visit or short stay, I feel very happy, and so somehow like every the aspect, like the place where I live, and also the food that are offered and everything. So like overall, so all this thing made me very happy, and so I like to thank you very much to all your effort and your kindness. So thank you very much.
안 되는 기란서 다들 최소의 실 배간다 다신 개부 최소선다 공부하라 시우징원에 타는 개부 차샤 안 단대 이내다 배 시우지 개로 이런 거네 타네게 디조 미디기 중고요래 디지 대선자 안에 배 다신 개요 딱 봐면 하면 개기 자자 면함 개야다 안 다래 있는데 아니 기란서 배 토나 첨부된데 배안 조조민다 송교 야다션 뭐네 타네게
Yeah, so as this Dharma Center, Thekchen Choling, so like it has been somehow like and always progress so very much and beneficial to so many beings, and also I wish and I pray increase and progress more and more, and so that will benefit countless beings, so that overall, so I like to say thank you very much for everything and all, so thank you very much.